Okay, well, Nick Collier here, and we are at Mendocino, sitting down on the beach on a foggy morning. Ah, it is so pretty. And I want to talk about what happened to me when I was in my early 20s. I did motorcycles for a while, and then I stopped that, and I decided I wanted to move to Nevada City. Down on my knees a little bit because I feel like you're not going to hear me. That's better, right? Okay. So I decided to move to Nevada City. So I did, and I stayed there for, about a month or so. And I met some young people and ended up out in Camptonville, about 40 miles from town, and about 5 miles from the nearest any sort of town, out on Oak Valley Herb Farm, which was a little hippie commune. There was about 40 of us, and I moved there in August, and let's see if I can get over here. This is even better. I moved here in August, and I lived in a little barn that, actually it was a pretty big barn, and I decided that it was the only place that was available. There was about, 30 or 40 young people there, and so I got myself a little space there and settled in, got some firewood, and got ready for winter, and I didn't realize that as winter came on, the entire group of people, 30 or 40 of them, decided to go to Mexico, and everybody took off. And basically, I was there with, I think about 3 or 4 other people. And I was living in this barn by myself. It had a little bit of running water, no electricity, no flush toilets. But I was happy as a clam. I'd lived in the city my whole life, and I wanted to be out in the country, and I certainly was. And, fast forward a couple of months, it was a really intense winter. We got 80 inches of rain that winter, and that was pretty intense. And then around February, so it just snowed. I mean, must have been 4 feet of snow on the ground. And I was holed up in this little room and couldn't figure out what to do with myself. And I got some paint and a canvas, and I kind of fiddled with that some, just to keep from going insane. And but that wasn't quite enough. And I just couldn't figure out what to do. And it wasn't until about March or so that I realized, and I swear, I up until that point, I did not see him. I was living in the library, and there was probably, 1,000 books lined up against the wall, all wore out paperbacks, but they were books. And up to that point, I had never read a book. I mean, I did book reports in school, and I always just read the jacket and tried to make a report from that. And so I just, one day out of sheer boredom, I reached over and I grabbed a book. And I could have grabbed something pretty intense with lots of big words. And I have to explain to you that even though at that point in history I wasn't diagnosed, in fact I've never been diagnosed, but I'm dyslexic, and and that's what you need, is a dyslexic machinist. Yeah, but hey, I somehow make it work. Anyhow, and I literally could not read. At the most, I had read newspaper articles, but the dyslexia was so intense at that point in my life that, I mean, I'd read a newspaper article and get about 10% of it, and the rest of it would just get confused in my mind. So anyhow, I could have picked up War and Peace or some really intense writing with lots of big words, and it probably would have soured me from reading for the rest of my life. But turns out that I picked up John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, and pretty simple writing, really effective reading, and I just was in love. And I found out a way to get through the winter. And here I was in the middle of the library, and there was just thousands of books to choose from. I went through the entire John Steinbeck collection. I went into, God, I can't remember, Dune, Arthur C. Clarke. I mean, I was all over the map, having a great time. And then I read One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, and that reminded me of my earlier mental hospital days, and I'll tell that story sometime. And then I read Sometimes a Great Notion, and that was at that winter. And I said to myself, geez, this guy, Ken Kesey, he's written so effectively. I really want to try writing someday. Well, at the time I was smoking a lot of pot and having a good time doing it, but it wasn't able to focus enough to actually take on something like a writing project. So it took another 10 years. So I was in my mid-30s when I actually put pot down and picked up a pen. Well, not a pen, it was literally, well, those first 40 pages were handwritten, but then I got a little brother, not a calculator, but I couldn't tell you what it is anyhow. It was pretty basic, but it was a typewriter. Oh no, I know. I got a Victrola. God, I can't remember what it was. Anyhow, at a garage sale for $1. It was a typewriter, and I think the A and the O were not functional. So I put a little oil in it and got it kind of working, and A and the O worked, but they didn't work really well. Then I started figuring out how to type, and I wrote Hunter's Field. It took 12 years to write that book, and when I got done, I realized it was pretty much a piece of shit, but it was good writing it, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, and so since then I've written 16 novels, and 8 of them are published, and I wished I had one in my hand so I could show it to you, but I don't. It's now 45 years later, and here I am, being a machinist. This is Nick Collier, checking out.